Hello folks, back again for another installment. Well, we start off here with Doris Day. Doris Day. She had a lot of records out in the 50s and 60s, most of them in the 50s. This is a really great record, one of my favorites by her from 1965. You know, I like Bossa Nova, that Brazilian sound that was real popular, 62 throughout the 60s. Well, here she does one from 1965. It's called Latin for Lovers. Yeah, this is a great album. Highly, highly recommended. And it has all my favorite songs too. In the 70s, early 70s, late 60s, I think she had a show called The Doris Day Show, 70-ish. And then I think she had another show called Please Don't Eat the Daisies. If I'm thinking of the right actress, possibly not. But yeah, she was on a lot of popular daytime variety shows and talk shows. There's the songs. And look who arranges and conducts. None other than Mort Garson. No wonder this sounds so great. Anything he put together, it always sounded so good. He just had such a good ear for music and arrangements. Very tasteful arrangements. Yeah. Oh, look at all those songs. Just a highly recommended album here, all the way through. On the Columbia 2i 360 sound. Great sound. I had found this record earlier on, but I bumped up a copy there in the shrink. A lot better copy too. Sweet from the UK. Desolation Boulevard, 1975. Kind of a heavy rock, glam, pop type group. Glitter rock maybe, yeah. But you can watch a lot of their videos up on YouTube from their concerts. Good musicians, really great catchy tunes, a lot of radio play in the day. This is, I think 73 is when they had Little Willie, and that's my first introduction to them. And then from 75 here, this record had Ballroom Blitz and Fox on the Run. They also had Love Is Like Oxygen. Those 4 songs were biggies for them. Yeah, Brian Connolly, good front man. And Stevie Wonder, wow. All his studio albums just had incredible audio fidelity, excellent mastering, deep, throaty bass, you know, Moog synthesizer. He actually used Tonto on some of his albums. Here is Talking Book, and it's got the Braille emboss there. There, yeah. Yeah, this is a great album here. Oh my gosh. His middle period was my favorite. from about 71 to about 75, 76. Yeah. Just one great album after another. And these albums I'm going to show by him are his better ones. This record had the big hit, You Are the Sunshine of My Life and Superstition. That's on Tamla Records. Yeah, great album all the way through. And then he started to experiment a little on these next two albums with street sounds and, you know, ambient sounds added to the music. Like you were just out walking, living, experiencing your surroundings. Really cool, really cool. Inner Visions. Great album. Great album. Highly recommended. Living for the City was a big radio hit. Higher Ground. Don't You Worry About a Thing. Man, that was played all during the summer of '74, I remember. Mercy. Got a lot of radio play. And Fulfillingness's First Final. Great album art there. I like the great album art on these last two. Okay, it opens up like so. Yeah, he's had quite a career. Very good recording artist. Very talented. There's the inner gatefold. And then I bumped up copies of the James Gang. These first three albums by the James Gang are my favorite. I love these. I can play these over and over and over. I mean, they're just etched in my mind from childhood, hearing them on the radio. And yeah, this first one's just, it's superb. There's no duds on this. Your Album. Joe Walsh was in there, and then he went with the Eagles, and then went solo, had a good solo career. I think this was designed to kind of color in. A lot of these albums, you know, from the 60s and 70s had this here type of art where it was up to the kind of let the buyer use his creativity with color pencils or magic markers and, you know, color these all in. I've only seen one of them colored in my entire life. Most people just left them empty. And then, you know, Led Zeppelin had an album where you could take water and, you know, it would color in different colors, pastel colors on the inner gate, or the inner sleeve. Yeah, the inner sleeve, I think. Let's see here. Here's the songs. Take a Look Around, Funk Number 48. But this whole, and Stop, this whole album is just great. Everything flows, goes very nicely together. Nice psych, bluesy, you know, rock and roll. Very melodic. They just craft some great tunes on here. Not, you know, it's not often that groups craft such ear candy that's down my alley, and this album is down my alley. That type of rock. You know, Tend My Garden, Funk Number 48, Take a Look Around, and The Bomber are my favorite songs by the James Gang. Just a classic here, a classic. And Rides Again. There they are on their motorcycles. Joe Walsh here. Yeah. Yeah, this one has The Bomber, unedited, the full version in all its glory. Psychedelic trip out. Killer. Woo! Man. Great album. Oh, man. And their live concert here, they do a great job, you know. Oh. And then Barry White. I'm Gonna Love You is the hit single on here. I've Got So Much to Give. I loved all his stuff. And he had later on the Love Unlimited Orchestra. Yeah, he does his solos here with his name on the title, and then the Love Unlimited Orchestra was his orchestra. All kind of nice, you know, laid back, mellow, funky, soulful grooves here. Just great stuff. He has a great voice, very deep, very expressive. And then Let the Music Play. And Paul Williams, great singer, songwriter, even an actor. He starred in the movie from '74, The Phantom of the Paradise. Kind of a campy, out there cult classic in the similar vein of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. Very bizarre, but wonderful. Just a fun movie. But yeah, all his albums through the 70s, early 70s through the late 70s were great. All up into the early 80s. Yeah, he just has a natural knack for writing really nice songs. And then some cover songs of other artists here he puts his own touch on. A great piano player. Kind of a folky pop. Folky light pop. Yeah. Kind of dreamy. Sometimes wistful, you know, reflective music. That's a nice photo on the back there of him looking out the window, you know, getting ideas for another song. Yeah. This one's titled Just an Old-Fashioned Love Song. Yeah. got a nice backing orchestral arrangements there for a nice full sound on all his albums, which really makes for a great laid back listen. Just kind of unwinding. And Life Goes On, another album from him. These are all from the early to mid 70s. Yeah, I just found these in the 50-cent dollar bin. Got these all for 50 cents each. They were in pretty good shape, a little ring wear, but the records are nice and clean. Glad to add his music to my collection. So you can see all the different instruments used there, and for that nice full sound. Yeah. Here we have, folks, here we have an absolute golden throat from the early 70s. A golden throat. Yes, it's Danny Bonaduce. Danny Bonaduce from the Partridge Family. He was the middle child, always the kind of the smart aleck, wisecracking jokester, very smart of the family, the younger brother of David Cassidy and the TV sitcom, American TV sitcom. I think it ran from about 70 to 74. And Susan Day was the older sister. Yep, here he said that I want to make an album. So he did. He made an album here on Lion Records, 1973. Here he's about 13 years old. Yeah, he had a kind of a rough career when the series suddenly ended and he was without a job. Man, he was down and out, living in his car, struggled with alcoholism. He's clean and sober now, got a great wife. He's been a long-time DJ, I think out in the west, Seattle area, I think? Washington? Yeah, Seattle, Washington. Been a DJ there for years and years. Real popular show. A friend of mine called up one day and I don't know if he requested a song or what, but anyway, he talked to Danny and had a real good conversation with him. So, yeah, this was, I think, a DJ copy. Let me flip the record over here. What we're listening to is Peggy Lipton, 1968. Great album. I love Peggy Lipton. Well, the DJs, this adds character to this record, and I'm glad that it's on there. Here, I'll take this out of so you can read it a little better. There we go. Lion Records, the first Lion record for my collection. I'll Be Your Magician, Save a Little Piece for Me, and Turn Down Day by the Circle. Those I think you can hear on YouTube. There's his take on the Harper's Bazaar 59th Street Bridge song, Feeling Groovy. Yeah, the studio musicians he has here to back him do a great job to give the record a nice full sound and kind of bring his voice up so it's not, you know, and he really does a good job. You know, I like this record. It's very upbeat sunshine pop. Kind of reminds me of that record that Rodney Allen Rippey did in '68, Take Life a Little Easier. Well, he was born in '68. The record was from about '73, '74, I think. But anyway, he was this little 3, 4, 5-year-old kid that was a spokesman for the Jack in the Box hamburger chain of restaurants, and he'd come on those TV commercials, and he had this huge hamburger, not able to fit it in his mouth. And the jingle, I think, for that particular, you know, commercial was "Take Life a Little Easier." And I think Rodney Allen Rippey appeared with another. Oh, he appeared with another little kid on a variety show with Michael Jackson and Donny Osmond, and I think you can watch that on YouTube. I happened to catch that, so yeah. And I'll show you the record label, Lion Records. Thankfully they didn't write all over the label. Yeah, the record's near mint. Looks like it hadn't even been played, except for the, you know, writing on the back of the cover there. Let's see, Family. They were from the UK. Their album Bandstand here is probably my favorite of theirs. They had about 7, 8 albums, 68 to the mid-70s. This is from 72, probably my favorite. And it's got a nice, it's an old TV set. Die-cut cover there. And the TV innards. Yeah, the lead singer Roger Chapman has an interesting, unique voice. No other guy singer sounds like him, kind of wavering. Polly Palmer plays all the keyboards. You got synths in here, maybe electric piano. I don't know if there's any organ in there or not, but there's John Wetton, Rob Townsend. I like the song Burlesque, Bolero Babe, Coronation, Dark Eyes. Let's see, side two, I think was the best side, where all the songs were that there weren't any weak songs on side 2. Side 1 had about 3 songs that were a little weak for my taste, but Bolero Babe was my favorite, if memory serves correct. So yeah, they experiment with a little progressive here, you know, progressive tendencies throughout the album. So yeah, I really like that. And then Mancini and Fox, this is a good listen all the way through. These two guys, guitarists here, kind of folky, put together some great pop music here, very melodic. Kind of in the vein that reminds me of Hudson and Ford. Some of the guys that had been in the Strawbs and went solo for about 3 or 4 albums in the early mid 70s, I think, or mid to late 70s. But yeah, kind of a psyche, sunshiny pop here with you know, folk. I like this whole album and can just listen to it over and over. Every song on here. I don't know what it is about it. I just like it. Yeah. But it's on Event Records. Yeah, fun discovery there. Glad I found that. And then from Canada, Megan McDonough. Back years ago, I think it was in the 90s, mid-90s or to late 90s, somewhere in there. I was out driving late at night, had a long trip, and I was listening to WGN, a late night radio show, the Steve and Johnny Show, 7:20 a.m. And she was a guest on there, and she was talking about her career from the beginnings to present. She had another album out at that time, I think, and here she is with her second album, I think. This is her second. Kind of a folk singer, light pop folk here with a nice orchestral backing, and plays nice guitar there. She's on the Wooden Nickel label. She's from the Chicago area. Born in '55, I believe. I like that Wooden Nickel label. Heads and Tails. So if you like kind of a light, breezy, sunny folk, you know, you might like her album there. And Johnny Rivers, A Touch of Gold. All his greatest hits here, still sealed. Couldn't resist picking this up. Yeah, love all his songs. All the great hits on here. And then some lesser hits. Yeah, by the time I get to Phoenix, good Glenn Campbell. Glenn Campbell did a great rendition of that too. Probably my favorite. Summer Rain, yeah, beautiful song. Poor Side of Town, a classic. Baby, I Need Your Lovin', The Tracks of My Tears. Yeah, good stuff there. And then the Youngbloods, Get Together. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Were the lyrics to this song. Very big in '69. I'm thinking, or thereabouts. Yeah, '69. I think this is a reissue. Not sure. Think it is. Yeah. Just a great listen all the way through. Great psych hippie music, mellow, laid back, nothing really heavy. Just peace-loving hippies there, having a good time, chilling. Isn't that a great picture? Great photograph there. Love it. Love it, boy. Yep, fun find there. Check that out. And then I couldn't resist, John Travolta here. I had his, I had some 45s by him that I had found many years ago, and I have an 8-track by him of this first album I'm going to show. It's called Can't Let You Go. I was at a friend and his wife's house. They were out in the country here back probably in about 87, I think. Yeah, 87 into 89, 90. They lived in this old 2-story farmhouse. They were renting it for a while for that time period, and so they found out that the second floor was haunted, and so they were a little, uneasy, so they moved their bedroom down to the first floor, because they always heard these little children running up and down the steps and laughter of children playing up in the upstairs. There was there was a small bathroom, a great big walk-in closet, and then a long bedroom, and then kind of a squarish bedroom with dormers. And the long bedroom had the windows at the end of it. But yeah, I was up there. And the people that had been there before had apparently left behind a whole bunch of children's toys and just stuff. Boxes and boxes of stuff. And we was digging through there. It was just like anything you could imagine, like a time capsule from the 60s and the 70s. And there were some old records in there, and 8-track tapes, and toys, and magazines, and it was really cool just digging through all this stuff. And I found a whole bunch of 8-tracks, and one of them happened to be this one. And oddly, this is from '77, and oddly this slipped by me, because I was in the record stores at this time, but somehow this just slipped by me. Never, I probably heard it on the radio, but it just didn't ring a bell when I saw it. And I brought it home, played it, and it was just like deja vu. I knew that I had heard at least 3 songs off of it on the radio. But apparently I didn't, get the DJ didn't say the artist, so I wasn't aware who it was. Very surprised to find out it was John Travolta. But it's a great album all the way through. I love it. Yeah, Church of Scientology. Yeah. Airplane pilot, actor, big career. Saturday Night Fever. The whole. Who cares? Great album. I found this over in Columbia in a small record store, and this guy had gotten a box of just loaded with sealed John Travolta records, and I just grabbed a whole bunch of them. They were real cheap, and thought, yeah, what the heck. But yeah, so good to get this in such a clean, pristine, not have to hear the click, 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 as the song cuts off in the middle and then continues on track 2 and track 3 and track 4 of the 8-track. So yeah, fun. All the songs on here are great. Kind of reminds me, honestly, this kind of reminds me of Paul Will, the orchestral backing and the laid back, sunny, breezy day, summertime. Just kind of lazing around, type of feel to Paul Williams' records from the 70s. Same type of feel here. But there's the songs. This is my favorite by him. Just 2 records. These are completely outside his disco and Saturday Night Fever and, you know, Olivia Newton-John duo type music, you know, with the Bee Gees. And, you know, no disco here. No disco. Just laid back love songs, you know, pop. See if there's anything else there. Yeah, they're on he's on Metro Media Records. Kind of a cool label. I've always liked the Metro Media logo there. Yeah, some of these smaller labels, they're always more interesting, more artsy, more creative. The bigger the company, the more bland the label. Like they didn't even care to, you know, be creative with the graphic art design. I'll put this on, just kind of give you a feel for it. This here will be a longer video. It's already at 36 minutes, but I'll just kind of give you a taste of it. Let's see here. Now this is side B. I think I found about three copies of this record and then about 6 or 7 copies of his debut record. And this is a copy I found that was already opened. So the other ones are sealed yet. Yeah, he starred in that movie, The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, with Glynis O'Connor. Yeah, back in '76, I think. And he was on Welcome Back, Kotter.
Trouble here tonight. Moonlight lady, hold my hand. Let me know you understand when I say I need a friend. Stay here with me till the end.
So that's John Travolta. And I think I'll end it here because I want to try to squeeze the rest of this stuff into my next batch here, and we're running a little long here, 38 minutes. So I'll wrap it up. See you on the next one, folks. Take care.